Hey everybody, welcome back to Gideon Stuff. Today we have an episode of My Two Cents. This is the series where I take a knife that I think is really cool, but has been reviewed to death, and I just kind of give my thoughts on it. So you can consider this kind of a review, but it's not in the same format as my other reviews, and it's more of just kind of a discussion on a certain knife. So today's topic is the Kizer Begleiter. This is the Begleiter 2. Also, excuse my hands. I was just outside a little bit ago working with some salt licks for livestock, and the cobalt salt blocks left my hands blue, but I guess it kind of fits because we're looking at this really cool blue knife. Anyways, let's get into this knife. So the Kizer Begleiter is been around for a long time. Has been around for a long time. Proper grammar, Gideon. And I did not get my hands on one until just recently. And it was a knife that I always wanted to check out because I'd heard so many great things about it, and it was kind of one of the knives. You know, when you get into the knife community, there's a couple of knives that are just kind of thrown at you. The Bug Out, the PM2, the Rats, the Elementum. These knives are kind of staples in the community that I and many others believe that you should at least handle once. And for me, I keep most of them around because they make excellent comparison knives because they are so popular. So it took me a long time to get my hands on a Begleiter. And then I got the Begleiter XL, the Why Mountain Knives exclusive button lock, and I decided I'd better pick up a regular one to compare it against. So as I already said, this is the Begleiter 2, and as far as I can tell, the only real difference between the original Begleiter and the Begleiter 2 is these ones have bearings, and maybe the blade shape is slightly different. But I picked up this knife, and I've been loving it. So this one is one of the denim line of knives from Kizer. They have a bunch of their models in this now, and I do want to say real quick, the pouches they come in are just incredible. These are incredible little pouches, and you have room for multiple knives in here. In fact, I'm starting to keep my review knives in this pouch when they're not on my table being used for reviews, obviously. But really cool pouch. And this is a really cool, look at that blue. It's been, you know, taking the oils in my hand real nice. Very, very high quality micarta. The blade on this is 154 cm. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into this. This has definitely become a go-to knife for me. I will throw this in my pocket all the time. Around the house, going to town, even going to work. This became kind of my lunchbox knife. You know, I work in the woods and stuff, and so I have my my fixed blade, then my hard use folder, and then I have what I would call my lunchbox knife, or my knife that's a little slicier. I use it, cut my lunch and my sandwich, my apple at lunch and stuff. And so this has fit the role beautifully. And there's some things that just make this excellent. The size, I think, is really good. It's not too small. It's not too big. I think this is a knife size that a lot of people will really appreciate. The blade length, you can see here, let's go to inches because this is America. We're coming in at just right around 3.5 inches. To me, that's the perfect EDC blade length. The action on this is just stupid good. Great access to the liner. Very smooth with an incredibly snappy detent. And centering is good. I love the pocket clip that Kizer uses. This is a fantastic clip. Works really well in the hand and in the pocket. Excellent, excellent clip. I do like the black washing on everything here too. Goes with the denim really, really well. 154 cm is great. This blade shape is an excellent EDC blade shape. Nice and thin, flat grind, comes down to a pretty good edge. You have a little bit of a clip here, so you have a very defined point. You have some straight, you have a little bit of belly. Very good, just regular EDC. The jimping back here is excellent. This is my favorite. I think Kizer does some of the best jimping. This has an amazing texture, very file-like. I do wish it came out a little bit more, but that's not a big deal. The ergonomics are simple and good. They work. I cannot imagine this knife being uncomfortable for anyone, whether you have big hands or small hands. I think it's going to work just fine. And that's kind of the thing with this knife, is I think it's kind of an everyone knife. I don't think there's anyone that couldn't appreciate this knife, even if they're not a knife person. The knife is just that perfect size that, I think a lot of people, even someone who doesn't really carry a knife, would be tempted to carry this. It's small, but it's very hand-filling. I feel like it's chunky enough without being, over chunky. And overall, just a really good work knife and EDC knife. I've been really, really impressed with it. The 154 CM has been holding up really good. The finish on the blade's been holding up really well. Just very, very happy with it in general. Another reason I'm so happy with this is probably the best Kizer I've ever handled. I have not had the best luck with Kizers, and we're not going to go into all of that here. I have other videos on that, but, I've had lockup issues, I've had lock stick, I've had disassembly issues, poor hardware, just functionality issues, and this knife is pretty much perfect. It works exactly as it's intended to, it looks amazing, and it's just great. Speaking of the looks, I think one thing that kind of played a role in me taking so long to get a Kizer Begleiter is because it's kind of a boring looking knife. And I figured, you know what, just looking at that, I can tell exactly how it's going to perform. And in some ways, I was right. But also, that was kind of dumb of me. And I'm glad I finally decided to go ahead and get one. I'm glad I got this one too. When they came out with this version, I was like, oh yeah, that's the perfect version for Gideon. It's blue. Thank goodness. And look at this. Isn't this kind of goofy? The denim. Love it freely, take it easy. It's kind of fun. But overall, yeah, this is a great knife, and I know why so many people love it. And this is one of those knives that I'm going to throw into my can recommend to anyone category. I don't think this is a bad knife for anyone at all. And if I'm being honest, I think it provides some pretty stiff competition to things like the CGRB Feldspar. And that's saying a lot coming from me. You guys know how much I love the Feldspar. I happen to have the button lock version here today. And yeah, for me to admit that this knife can compete with that, yeah, that's a pretty big deal. But anyways, go ahead and pick one up. It gets my seal of approval. The Kizer Begleiter XL is awesome. And that's my 2 cents. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe below. I've been Gideon. And I'll see you in the next one. Adios.